And we are live Sunday afternoon. Andrew, lockdown 5.0. Here we are again. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, really good, Jim. Just got back from the usual Sunday afternoon grocery shopping and, of course, started off in the morning, take the kids to the park. A bit chilly, although have to get them out of the house. Otherwise, I'll go pretty crazy at home. So did that. Now back at home, and after this, we'll watch the Magpies smash Carlton. So go the Pies.
Settle down. Actually, cracking game of football last night, by the way. The Hawks ended up a draw, and I called it in the last 2 minutes, but that's good. Well, mate, you know, you've done that. My lovely wife Georgie's birthday today, so big shout out.
Happy birthday, Georgie.
Happy birthday to Georgie. And you know what? It's amazing how many people that I know share a birthday. Our good mate Fulvio
Happy birthday, Fulv.
From Fiat Alpha. Fulvio's birthday as well, so shout out to Fulv. And there's a whole stack of other people, Angelo Triandos and a whole stack of other people that I know.
In July, Jim, massive with birthdays, I can tell you.
Yeah, mate, must have been a busy time. Back in the day. And Margaret Zeta's birthday, Andrew, from My Room Children's Cancer Charity.
Good lady.
Big shout out to Margaret Zeta. It's her birthday as well. So an exact same age. I figured out today she's born the same day as my wife and same age, those two girls. No wonder I love them both so much, and I won't tell you their age, but all good. But Andrew, let's get into it. And Thursday, the day when the world changed again in Melbourne. So snap lockdown gets called at 4:45 p.m. on Thursday. And of course, we had to pivot very, very quickly and make some decisions what we were going to do for our clients and for their properties. Thankfully, we've done it before, so we knew what to do.
Correct, yeah.
Now, what we decided was a couple of auctions got brought forward. Now, bear in mind, this was 4:45 Thursday afternoon when it was confirmed. So our team at St Albans ended up bringing forward some auctions and doing them Thursday night. My guys, you know, I've got to tell you, Andrew, I sit back thinking, you know, 4:45, you're a buyer for a property, you get a phone call, you're expecting it to be done on Saturday. You get a phone call to say, hey, we're doing this at 7:30 tonight, and another one at 8:30 tonight, get yourself ready. And they all did, right? So big shout out to John and Chow and Alan and Kevin and Thomas and the boys there. They sold 62 East Esplanade for a strong 621,000. They then auctioned 71 Marshall Avenue and sold that one as well. Then they sold another one beforehand at 22 Balnarring in Kings Park for 625. So, you know, 3 properties got finalised that night. And then, of course, we decided that we moved into doing our auctions yesterday online via gavel.
Right.
And I've got to tell you, the first one, our wonderful elderly vendor, Margaret, with the property at number 4 Keoloa Court in Taylor's Lakes. So Tony ran a really good campaign there over the last 3.5 weeks. Margaret was selling her family home. She lost her husband recently. She's decided to move into retirement living, and the retirement community at Deanside, where a lot of our vendor
clients are there,
have already gone. We really wanted it to go well for her. It exceeded her expectations. It was an interesting auction, Andrew. We had, I think, 11 or 12 people registered a bid on that one, and 6 were active. And I remember calling for an opening bid. And now we were quoting this property at 710 to 760. We had an opening bid of 600. Another fellow tried to bid 605 and I knocked him back. You know, it's way under the odds. The second bid came in way over reserve at $800,000. So second bid, announced it on the market, called for $1,000 rises, and it ends up selling to a wonderful family, young
local as well.
Keeler Downs family, locals, upgrading, buying, you know, a bigger home just around the corner from the schools, perfectly located, and ended up selling for 863.5. And huge congratulations to the buyers. Margaret, our vendor, is absolutely rapt that they bought the property because she'd met them at one of the opens when she was coming back, and they've got a little boy, and she met the little boy, fell in love with him. And, you know, it's funny, we have the conversation with vendors beforehand, and you sort of say, you know, out of all the people, these are the ones that have been through. Is there anyone that you would love for it to buy the home? And there were two buyers that she highlighted. One was the people that bought it, and one was the underbidder. And you know, what a beautiful, beautiful message we received from that buyer straight after the auction. Tell us about that.
Now, Beck and Darren are very good clients of mine. They're actually moving from Hillside into Taylor's Lakes, obviously trying to get into the school zone there. And Beck and Darren have missed out on a couple of homes in the local area, of course. But this is the first time they've actually bid it on online through gavel. So they're a little bit nervous about it and whatnot. And yeah, them too. They had a couple of children as well that want to go into the school. So very similar story to the people that actually bought it.
Yep.
And obviously they were missed out, and like everyone, you're a little bit upset. But she sent us a message later on that afternoon saying how great the actual system was and the process, and how comfortable she was actually bidding online as well. And she gave you a bit of a plug as well for being a great auctioneer, mate. So yeah, no, beautiful message there. We love to hear those messages come through as well, because it gives us confidence knowing that we're doing the right thing too by the public, right? So and that's what it's all about. You know, we know that only one person can buy the property. We understand that. We understand it can be devastating to miss out on a property, but to be able to receive messages like that, it makes us feel good as well, right? So yeah, thanks to Beck and Darren for that message as well.
Well, I think the beauty of it from Beck's, you know, what I really liked about Beck's message was the fact that she said it was the first time she'd ever decided to bid online.
Correct.
And they found the process relatively easy. They found it quite comfortable.
Actually, Beck's watching, Jim. So,
hey, Beck, how are you? And, you know, you absolutely made our day, Beck, I've got to tell you. And for somebody that missed out on a property, it was a very touching message. So thank you for that. And rest assured that we will do our absolute best to find you another property. But so then we moved on from that one, Andrew, and we had a gorgeous home at number 1 Heathcote Retreat in Caroline Springs, upmarket property in the Grange Estate, one of the finer parts of Caroline Springs. Tell us what happened with that one.
Yeah, Jim, we had a good campaign. We know the upper end of the, you know, the price point anywhere around the $1 million mark. You don't get that many buyers come through, but we ended up having about 40 to 45 buyers go through the campaign. Although we ended up having with 6 registered bidders on the property. So you can see the ratio, even though we didn't have a lot of buyers go through, the number of buyers actually were interested was quite good. So we had 6 registered bidders. The buyer that actually ended up buying it, a young couple, probably in their late 20s, they missed out on a property with me in Hillside, a beautiful home on Beatty's Road. They had a fair crack with that one there, and they then they kind of obviously were a little bit upset they missed out on that one there. As we mentioned, only one person can buy it. But I highly suggested this property to them, and they came through after missing on a Monday, came through on Thursday, saw it Thursday afternoon, and they purchased this beautiful home for $1,132,000. But they had to fight off 5 really, really, really strong bidders. So, you know, even though it did sell for a really good result, there was still, I think, 3 or 4 buyers over that 1.1 mark. So just goes to show you in Caroline Springs, if anyone's watching this thinking of selling over that price point, then yeah, give us a buzz.
Yell out. And then we had a little bit of a break because we postponed a couple of auctions, 45 Nordic Avenue and 6 Adams in Fraser Rise. But then we had a little bit of a break, which gave us time to grab a sandwich. And then we had a cracker one. I was absolutely exhausted, Andrew, at the end of the day.
You're a pretty guy.
You know, 7 Bowman Court in Taylor's Hill. So that was another one, Andrew, where I think there were 5 active bidders. There were 8 or 9 registered. I can't remember what the opening bid was. I can't remember where it started, but tell us about that one.
Jim, yeah, look, I was on a Zoom meeting with my vendors, and mate, I think it started at around 700,000. So we had a quote range of, you know, 699 and 749. Just confused there. So 699, 749. opened a bid of 700,000. So, quite of a healthy bid. And then just took off there, Jim. We went to a point where I think it went to that high sevens and you were taking $100 bids. And it just didn't stop. And I was like, wow. And then as soon as we hit 800,000, I'm like, okay, well, it's surely going to slow down. And then we went back up again to $5,000 bids and so forth, right? So we had a couple of really strong bidders there. And the young girl moving in with their father, local residents as well in Taylor Hill. They're just renting at the moment in the local area. And they love this property. And why not? It's a gorgeous single level home in Taylor Hill, but a strong result there.
Yeah, no, we were pretty pleased with that. But a 55-minute auction with 189 bids.
Yes.
And we see those. I mean, typically when you consider most auctions, right, we start them at the advertised time or maybe a minute late or whatever. We do our spiel, which runs for, around 6 minutes. Then we do the auction, and we're normally done in a total of 16, 18, 20 minutes maximum. This went for 55 minutes. And I've got to tell you how many times my mouth was dry and I wanted to stop and sip some water, but I didn't want to lose momentum and just keep it going. But look, great outcome. That's how they work sometimes.
You got to do what you're going to do, Jim. I remember when I was calling that one in Hillside a couple of weeks ago, and that was a 43-minute auction.
Yep.
And as a spectator, you're thinking, geez, just knock it down, kind of thing, right? But, you look as an auctioneer, you can't, because you know that you have to give people time to obviously think about if they are going to stretch themselves. They might be doing some quick numbers in their head and so forth, having a quick chat about, okay, what's plan B looking like and so forth. So us as auctioneers, we have to be pretty patient as well. And so hence why sometimes it can drag on a little bit, but a really, really good auction. So, and the actual vendor himself, as I mentioned to you, he's actually a real estate agent himself, and he sells in the local, in the CBD as a real estate agent, works there. Hence, he didn't want to sell his own property in Taylor Hill, of course, and he was lost for words. He was absolutely pumped after the auction, and why not? Strong result.
Yeah, no, look, great result, great outcome. Now, we move into this coming week. Something says to me, Andrew, and the language that all of the media and the politicians are using at the moment tells me that I don't think we're going to be out of lockdown Tuesday night, for Wednesday. Looking at some of the numbers and looking at the way that they're reporting things, it tells us that there's every chance this is going to be extended. Now, if we think back to, 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago, when we got locked down 29th of May, that was supposed to be for a week. It went for 2 weeks. We're now seeing greater numbers than what we saw back then. So I can't see how 5 days is going to do it. I suspect that we're going to know by Tuesday that we're probably going to be extended. That's going to have an impact on what we do this week, what we do for our clients, what we do for our vendors, what we do for the auctions that we've got scheduled for next Saturday, and what we do for the auctions we've got scheduled moving forward after that. Because whilst properties, we were able to pivot very quickly and get everything done on the weekend because the clients, the buyers had already seen those properties. These ones that we've got scheduled are effectively losing 8 or 9 days of their campaign. We can still make it work for this coming week, unless we're in lockdown. Now, we can still do them online. We know that buyers, are good with the process. We know that they're happy to do it, and we know that it works. I'm trying to find the numbers just so I can give you the clearance rates. It was 92% across Melbourne. Barry Plant Group was 93%. And I think it was 46 out of 50 auctions from memory that we sold across Melbourne. But every one that we did locally all sold, and they all sold strongly, right through from Sunshine, St Albans, Caroline Springs, Taylors Lakes, Werribee. It all worked. All the numbers were good and the metrics were good. But we're going to have to make some decisions in the next couple of days, Andrew, I think, and advise people accordingly on what we're going to do moving forward, depending on any further restrictions that are announced.
We can't really, obviously, as much as we want to try and plan ahead for our clients, obviously we just can't. As you mentioned, I'm thinking the same. I think we'll more than likely will be extended just based on the numbers of today and so forth. And I'm assuming Dan Andrews wouldn't open us up until we're back to zero, right? So, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen over the next couple of days, obviously. So, look, I think more importantly, for the buyers out there, obviously we know we are working for our vendors, but again, importantly for the buyers out there that have seen our properties over the last week or so, look, don't worry, we'll be in contact with you tomorrow and Tuesday, of course, informing you what we're doing with the auctions that are this coming Saturday and obviously the ones that are after that as well. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be in touch with all our clients and make them well aware of our plans moving forward.
Yeah. And I think the other thing I just want to point out, Andrew, this is the 5th lockdown that we've had. We know that in previous lockdowns, some agents have bent the rules. I want to make it perfectly clear. Our company and our staff will not bend the rules. We cannot come to your house. We cannot show you a house. We cannot have an inspection. We cannot do a physical appraisal. I've already had a couple of calls and emails in the last 24 hours for appraisals, Andrew, that have come through the system. I've spoken to every one of them and explained that to them. And one of them that I spoke to today said to me that he'd spoken to another agent. The agent said that he could happen to be walking past and happen to pop in. It's an absolute friggin' disgrace. You're a piece of, anyway, I won't say it. To anyone watching, please don't compromise. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're at risk. Do not do it. The rules are the same for all of us.
There's right? No need to. Think about it, right? Even if we came and appraised your property, which is fair enough, but we physically can't do anything anyway with the buyers, getting them through the door. So
you just can't do it, mate.
No, 100%. I remember, as I said, we've done this many times before. It's our 5th time doing it, and we're happy to organise a Zoom meeting and obviously appraise your home that way. That's just as good. We have a lot of clients that are actually overseas, and that's how we conduct them, right? They're all Zoom appraisals. I've got a gentleman at the moment in America, and we went through his property via Zoom because it's rented through another agency, and we organised it and whatnot. And yeah, it was perfectly fine. So look, for anyone that wants to get their house appraised, we're here to help you through Zoom and whatnot. The tools are there, and but we just won't take the risk coming through your home physically because there's no need for it. There's no need. Yeah,
exactly. So bottom line, Andrew, we will tomorrow, all of our team will be hitting the phones. We'll have a Zoom meeting with the team in the morning to check in and make sure everyone's going okay. And I think, everybody should do that with people that they know is during these times, whilst we know how to cope, some people can't, and some people are finding it difficult. So, please check in on your mates, check in on people that you know, and just make sure that they're doing okay. It's challenging. It's tough for some people. It's everybody reacts differently and looks at things differently. The bottom line is we know what to do. We've just got to do it and just stay well and stay safe and look after yourself and look after your families, right?
Yeah, spot on, Jim. And it's pretty much exactly what we need to do. So hopefully this blows over as soon as possible. And but again, as you mentioned, just reach out. We love a chat.
We do. All right, mate. Thanks for your time. Thanks to everybody that's watching. And we will be back the minute we've got some clarity, Andrew, around what we're doing.
Yeah. I reckon once we know what's happening, we'll jump online and give everyone a informative message in regards to what's happening moving forward. But until then, everyone, enjoy the rest of the Sunday evening. Go the Pies and
go the Blue Baggers. Come on, Blues.
Go the Pies. And we'll speak soon. See you guys.
Bye, see ya.
Yeah, bye-bye.